Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, today, my guests are all about travel and food. So please stay tuned for an interesting travel and food segment. And also first, I do want to congratulate Josephine Trebuzio from Brooklyn, New York. She won a copy of my book, The Basic Art of Cocktails, on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, just go to Maria Liberati. You'll see we're having another contest and you can win a copy of one of my books from the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series. So please join us again on Instagram at Maria Liberati. Congratulations, Josephine. And since today's show is all about travel and food, I thought I'd read a travel and food story from my book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diary Seasons. That's actually my latest book, and it's really a compilation of all of my blogs from when I lived in Italy. And this one happens to be an entry in my diary from June 25th. It's entitled Casual Summertime Bruschetta. And remember, you pronounce it bruschetta. I hear so many people saying bruschetta, but the real pronunciation really is bruschetta. Now that summertime is upon us, thoughts of quick and easy but still beautiful casual food come to mind. And bruschetta is one of those foods. Bruschetta originated in central Italy. In Tuscan dialect, bruschetta is called fettunta, which literally means oiled slices. In the U.S., we think of bruschetta mainly as grilled slices of Italian bread with fresh tomatoes, basil, olive oil, and garlic. In Italy, it's one of the easiest and quickest dishes to prepare for a casual dinner with family or friends. And there are so many variations with a plethora of ingredients that complement each other. Its main advantage is that the ingredients used to make bruschetta don't require long prep or cooking or time. If you follow the classic recipes for bruschetta, all you need is an oven for toasting the bread, or even a little toaster oven and or a grill, and above all, authentic Italian bread that should be crusty on the outside and soft on the inside, but not too soft. You'll also need extra virgin olive oil, so the bread really should be more like day-old bread, so it's not too soft and doesn't get mushy in the middle. There should be some consistency to the middle, so it doesn't get mushy when you add the toppings. Like all great Italian recipes, each type of bruschetta is made with a small amount of ingredients, and each ingredient is important to the taste of the finished product. So each ingredient used must be the best quality: extra virgin, cold-pressed olive oil, fresh vegetables, fresh cheeses, and good quality meats or fish. If you'd like to throw a bruschetta party, a great summer idea, you can put together a simple yet delicious spread by arranging the following ingredients on a table and letting the guests choose their toppings. So have you ever thought of a bruschetta party? So here's my suggestions for a bruschetta spread so that you can let your guests choose their toppings and make their own bruschetta. 1 bottle of extra virgin olive oil for drizzling, fresh mozzarella cut into small cubes, chopped hazelnuts, chopped walnuts, pine nuts, chopped olives, green and black, steamed, peeled, clean shrimp, grilled veggies such as eggplant, peppers, onions, ripe tomatoes cubed, celery leaves chopped, celery chopped, anchovies canned in olive oil, arugula, provolone cheese cut into cubes, thinly sliced prosciutto. Every region of Italy does have its favorite bruschetta recipes, and it's especially common in the central and southern regions. Enjoy your bruschetta picnic, and stay tuned for my special guest today. We're talking about travel and food. And for more bruschetta recipes, you can find them in that new book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diaries Seasons. And you can find that on Amazon and Kindle and anywhere books are sold. So today my special guest is Ava Metz-Tolliver. And she has a German travel company, right, Ava?
Yes, that's right.
So
Germany
yeah,
travel.
if you want to, she's an expert on German travel, but she's here today to share a story with us, an interesting story about I guess it's like a German dish that I've never heard about. But anyway, welcome to the Marie Liberati Show. So, are you from Germany?
Thank you, Maria. Yes, I grew up in Germany. I spent the first 20 or so years there,
Uh-huh.
but then moved over to the US and I now reside out of Los Angeles.
Okay, but that's how you're an expert then, yes, on German travel. So, tell us. I know you started telling me about a story and revolving around something. So I'm not going to say what it is. I'll let you say it. Something that I had never heard of. Yes, a German dish.
Yeah, it's actually even a very, not even like a real German, it is a German dish, but it's very regionally. It's in the
Oh,
south of Germany,
uh-huh.
just in that region. And it's called Maultaschen, which roughly translates into little mouse pockets. And really, it's what it is. It's dough filled
Yes.
with ground meat, pork generally, spinach, and some
Uh-huh.
spices.
Uh-huh.
Think of like a big dumpling type of dish,
Okay.
right? And
Uh-huh.
they're pretty big squares, like about that size.
Okay.
And you eat them traditionally in a broth, like a beef broth, or
Oh,
you could also fry pan them with like onions on top of
oh,
it.
okay. Yes, I was just going to say, are they boiled or fried? So there can be either way then, fried or
Right.
boiled.
Either way,
So,
exactly.
oh, so like a dumpling in a soup
Mhm.
and broth. Wow.
Mhm.
Yes, that's
Yeah, and it's a really funny backstory too, because nobody really knows where they come from.
uh-huh.
And there's several sort of origin theories and stories. The one that I like the most is that of a monk,
Uh-huh.
and the abbey came into a big piece of meat,
Uh-huh.
um, but it was during Lent,
Uh-huh.
and they were not allowed to eat
Right.
meat. And so they had this genius idea of just grounding it up and hiding it in dough. And so where I come from regionally, they're also known as like Herrgott Bescheißerle, which really means like little cheaters of God or little cheaters
Oh.
of God, right? So yeah,
So they hid the meat. The story then is that they hid the meat in the dough so they wouldn't know they were eating meat because
exactly.
during Lent you're not allowed to eat meat. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
So that's the traditional story of where they come from. And how do we say that in German again? What's
So
the
it's Maultaschen.
Maultaschen? Okay, yes, that's fun. That's interesting. And what part of Germany? So you said it's a local regional specialty. What part of Germany is it from?
It's southwest. So
Southwest.
it's the region, it's Swabia. It's the region closest to France.
Oh, okay, okay. Is it a town that it specifically comes from, or more like a region?
That region generally. And
That
that's
re
generally where you get it now too. So if you don't get it in all of
and
Germany,
tell
it's
me then, and
that
what's
region.
the region again? I'm sorry, I didn't, the region?
Swabia.
Swabia. Okay. Is that Swabia?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, yes, I know. I've seen that before. I don't think I've ever been there though. So if anyone goes to that region, Swabia, look for these delicious little mouth pockets.
Exactly. I really miss them. I have yet to find them in the US. It's one of those dishes I generally get most of
Right.
my
Uh-huh.
little cravings and whatnot. Here in the US,
Yes.
this is one of those dishes
Oh,
that I
they
cannot
don't
find.
have them, I guess, because it must be a very regional artisan thing. And I know you had something else too. Did you have another
Oh,
little?
yes. I told you before about the Weißwürste. So that's white sausage.
Okay.
And this is a Bavarian dish. So now we're moving to the east,
Uh-huh.
towards Munich and the surrounding areas and the Alps region.
Right. Uh-huh.
And so that is a very traditional type of sausage there. It's a sausage that you actually boil as well.
Uh-huh.
And you have to be careful. So it's just a couple of minutes, right? They are not allowed to actually cook in cooked water. You just warm them enough.
Yes.
And then you eat them traditionally with sweet mustard
Oh, okay.
and a beer. It's always
Uh-huh.
a welcome drink to go with it for
Yes.
breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
um, and let me see. Yeah, the skin. So you have to remove the skin before you eat them. And there's various ways that you can do it, but traditionally the two Bavarians, they actually just like sort of eat it out of the skin.
Oh,
So
I
that
see. Uh-huh.
they're sort of yeah, but you're like fortunately you're forgiven if you use your fork and your knife
So the
yeah.
traditional Bavarian way is to eat it out of the skin and with your hands then.
Exactly, and so very traditional, like in a beer garden or in a beer hall.
Uh-huh.
That's what you see on Sunday mornings. That
Uh-huh.
should traditionally also be eaten before 12.
Oh,
Um,
really? How about
yes,
that? So they have that for breakfast too. That's a breakfast thing?
exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, very interesting. And what is that
Mhm.
called again in German?
Weißwürste.
Weisswürste. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's the white sausage.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's great. Really very interesting. And it sounds like that's a regional kind of specialty. So have you been able to find that in the US or anywhere out of Bavaria? No.
Not really either. That's another one. So you find types of sausages, German
Yes.
sausages here in the US, but not the type that's boiled. So the white sausages that you boil,
Uh-huh.
Bavarian style, are generally like shorter and thicker than what you normally see.
Uh, okay. Very interesting. So Eva, do you have a website where people can find you if they want to travel to Germany? Or I've been there and
Absolutely.
it's definitely beautiful. So yes. Do you have a website?
Absolutely. Yeah. GermanyTravelCompany.com.
Okay, so yes, if you want more information, you can go to GermanyTravelCompany.com. Maybe we'll have you back in the future. I'm sure you have loads of stories to tell us about little German specialties and little towns and things like that.
I would love to
Yes,
anytime.
thank you. Thanks so much, Eva.
Okay. Thank you, Maria.
Hi, this is Maria Liberati, wishing you a happy summer and hoping that along with indulging in great food and drink this summer, you'll also indulge in my book series for the summertime, your summertime reading list. If you do have a list, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking is a great culinary memoir to enjoy as an armchair trip to Italy and enjoy my food-filled adventures throughout Italy and possibly learn to cook a new dish or two. I've been so excited that the book series, besides winning the Gourmand World Awards, has been growing and growing with readers that continue to just love reading about my fun food-filled adventures and recipes as well in some charming spots of Italy, and also love cooking great food and having fun while doing it. So if you'd like to take a trip to Italy without leaving your armchair this summer, or cook a great meal to impress family and friends, get a copy of The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Holidays and Special Occasions, and The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style. Peace, love, and pasta. And see you on the Maria Liberati Show podcast, heard wherever podcasts are heard, or find me at marialiberati.com. And my special guest, well, she's become a regular guest. She's actually our in-house, one of our in-house travel experts, and it's Amy Goober. She is a coach She coaches women on traveling, and she's been here before, and she has some interesting topics. Today, we're going to kind of combine the travel with food today, right, Amy?
Yes, our
Oh, and
favorites, right?
I just want to mention she has a women's travel group called Wandering Women, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that also. And your website, Amy, is
it's my name, which is Amy
a
Goober,
dot
AMYGOOBER.com.
com.
Everything's on
Okay,
there.
great. So I know, Amy, we were talking about you were going to talk about combining food with travel today, right?
Yes. So thank you for having me
Yes,
also. And yeah, food and travel. What two better things are there, really?
exactly.
So yeah, just to give a little context, I am a coach, but I created a women's travel group called Wandering Women because I felt there were a lot of women out there that wanted to travel and
Right.
either, didn't have like the ability to plan the trips or
Hmm.
didn't have someone to travel with, whether they're married or
Exactly.
divorced or widowed. It almost doesn't matter because we can travel more than once a year, hopefully. So
Yes.
I've put these trips together and I've learned a lot in doing so. And that those
Mhm.
are some of the things that, we're going to be sharing. So,
Yes, yes,
so just to give some context to it, that these aren't things that I sort of just came up with. These
yes.
are things that I've used and I've tried out, and I've
Uh-huh.
gotten a lot of good feedback on from lots of women. So I
Uh-huh.
feel like they're good ideas based in experience and
Right.
feed.
Exactly.
So what
Yes.
we're talking about today is adding in a food and wine walking tour to
Uh-huh.
any trip and any location that you go to.
Right.
And I, no pun intended, kind of stumbled on this myself because when I look for a location, of course, I do a lot of research as
Right.
you would, as anybody would.
Yes.
But I'm always looking for that extra thing, like what would be fun and not
Mhm.
just going out to eat or, all these things. So, not that we don't love
Right.
to eat, but
Right.
how can we explore a city and
Mm-hmm.
really get to know it? And
Mm-hmm.
what will the women traveling with me remember when they go
Mm-hmm.
back home? Like what will stick? What sort of
Right.
experiences? So, again, just to back up for a second, most of the women that come on my trips sign up alone.
Uh-huh.
So I also look for things that will engage them with each other and
Uh-huh.
be easy to get to know each other and have fun, right?
Right.
Because travel is really about exploration plus fun. So,
Yes.
so we started the trip we did in February was to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and
Uh-huh.
that's this whole idea started. And we found a food and wine walking tour.
There you go.
And they're everywhere because
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you how I know, but I know. And so I wanted to cover like kind of three things today. One is how do you find them?
Uh-huh.
How do people, how does anybody find these things? And
Mm-hmm.
so how you find them
Uh-huh.
is you search it.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's talk about San Juan, San Juan or Puerto Rico walking tours. So there's
Right.
lots of regular walking tours,
Uh-huh.
but I say, why not sample the cuisine of the region that you're in? So why
Uh-huh.
not combine food
Right.
with it? So you can search it, obviously, but there are also companies, Viator is one of them. There are these companies that bundle travel experiences.
Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
so you can look up Viator for the city you're going to and the dates you're traveling.
Uh-huh.
Um, TripAdvisor, everybody knows these, and they
Right.
exist, and you can look at reviews because I'm big
Uh-huh.
on that.
Yes.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can also contact a chamber of commerce in that city.
Yes. That's a
What do
good
they
idea.
recommend?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes.
So that's how you find them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, we thought, you and I thought, like, why not talk about some of the experiences,
Mm-hmm.
that I've had doing them so that people can get an idea, right,
Uh-huh.
of what it's about.
Yes.
So what I like to do is
Mm-hmm.
make it a meal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I've been doing is doing these, booking them at like 4 or 4:30 p.m. And they
Uh-huh.
usually are 3 hours long.
Right.
So
Oh.
I'm like, okay, ladies, there's your dinner.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Uh-huh.
so, um, So you meet at a certain place and you have a tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
And in San Juan, we were such a big group, we had to split in half. But what we loved, what was so funny was we split in half and then came back together at the end. We had 18 of us. And each group was saying, our tour guide was so amazing. Like each of us loved what we had. So you could say, well, it's like the luck of the draw, but there's two groups at the same time that were like competing with like, who
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So they take you to different locations and different restaurants.
Right.
And it's all set up for us.
And
you eat a specific thing. Right. So they take
Mm-hmm.
you somewhere and you might have, I think it was like an empanada.
So
we all sat at a table and we had this sort of appetizer thing and they explain it.
Right.
So now in between, while you're in between locations, they're giving you the history of the region.
Oh, yes. Which is great because you're learning that through food. Yes.
Right. And so if you have a good tour guide, which in our experiences we have, you're learning about the area and you're eating.
Yes. Yes.
So like in one spot we had the empanadas and then they brought us someplace else. And this was fascinating, which I thought would appreciate, you specifically, Maria. But so they gave us as like a palate cleanser. It was a popsicle, like think of like a pop kind of thing.
Yes.
And they told us the story of this husband and wife that had started this company. And how they started producing them and how it had grown in great popularity.
Wow.
And how they had different shops in a lot of different places in Puerto Rico. So I am a huge proponent of women in entrepreneurship. And so like that's something you would never know. Right. You walk by the popsicle store and you wouldn't even think of it. So I found that to be like enriching, as an experience.
Definitely.
And then one of the spots they took us to was a restaurant. We sat down and had like the main meal, which was kind of chicken and a vegetable. And then there's a dish that is, a Puerto Rican sort of national kind of dish called mofongo. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
I have, but I actually don't remember what it is. So tell us about that.
Okay. So they gave us, I wish I had a picture. Next time because I'm going to have some photographs. It was like a mortar and pestle, right? So it was like a ceramic bowl, a small bowl, and one of those.
Right. A pestle.
Right, pestle. And it's made with plantains.
Oh, okay.
And they give us the plant and we're making it. We're like, grinding
Oh, wow.
it.
So you're experiencing it. Yes.
You're experiencing it and then we ate it. So that was our San Juan. And there was a few other things in there. It's usually 4 or 5 stops. And so that was very cool. And we loved that. And we got right into San Juan. So again, you're seeing the streets and you see the street names and the people. And I don't know, to me, it was an enhanced tour.
Yes, definitely. No, that's great. And that's a great way to learn about where you're at. Because in fact, I had another guest on very recently where we were talking about she does some things in travel a little different than you, but we were talking about how to make your travel experiences a really enriching experience. So when you go home, you've actually grown in some way.
Yeah.
Rather than just, okay, let me just pack a suitcase and go and then see this museum or this restaurant or whatever, or the beach, and then just go home. And like, what does that do for you? So this way you're really enriching that travel experience and taking that further and really learning something that you're growing with, that you can take that home with you. Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing that. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
You were going to add to that.
Okay. So I have a little more. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I agree with everything you said. And I think it's what you take home with you.
Right.
We all travel and we're so fortunate. And then what do you remember?
Right.
What are the things that sort of stand out that are more than just in the moment? And I think that this sort of Food and Wine walking tour, so I'll give you just one more example, which is we just went to St. Augustine.
And
We had a group of women again, and we stayed right in the historic district. So we were again fortunate to be like in the thick of it all.
Right.
And we had this wonderful tour guide, and we did this food and wine walking tour. And what she did, which was a little different, was she took us to these restaurants. It was off time, right? Because we did it around 4 p.m. So we were able to get into some restaurants we wouldn't get into at dinner time.
At dinner time.
And they were beautiful terraces and gardens, like back patios. It just so happened was like a little bit of the consistent theme.
Yes.
Beautiful spaces. I mean, the food was delicious, but beautiful spaces. So we loved that. And one was like a coffee shop where they gave us this incredible, I think it was like a carrot cake, like a dessert. And again, we're in this like back patio terrace, beautiful area. So again, we felt like, wow, we're really someplace different.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, we're in the US, but we're in the South.
Exactly.
Very much like we were in the South. And then they did a wine tasting. There was which of course we thought was fun. It was a beautiful garden space. They had some live music, and they did like a whole wine tasting for us.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, again, you have to look and you have to find out. You look at reviews and what could be bad? Like what could be bad about it? So we ourselves, and some of the women were on both trips, but we had two totally different experiences, you know, back to back. And now we have a Savannah trip coming up, and I booked one because I said, why would I not kind of have this be incorporated into sort of my itinerary as
exactly. And you're getting the benefit of locals showing you things that you probably wouldn't get to experience because you're not a local from wherever you're at. So you're getting the benefit of experiencing that, you know, going to those places that you probably people wouldn't even know to get to. So that's definitely a good thing to do, is to make a walking food tour part of you know, any trip that you're on. It definitely gives you more to I guess to remember and more to experience also.
Yeah. And I think too, to your point, is we ended up at multiple restaurants and multiple eateries that you wouldn't be able to fit in yourself, right? You're going to go out per meal. I was just remembering now that we're talking in St. Augustine, they took us to a Greek restaurant and they lit the cheese on fire. They did that course, you know, just things like that. So I think we got to see more places. We learned the history because the good guides are telling you all about the history of the area you're in. And how do you know that?
Exactly.
And I felt like it was a great socializing experience.
It is definitely that all definitely adds to the enrichment of the travel experience. So Amy, we're just about out of time. So I just want to make sure so people know where to find you. It's amygoober.com, and Amy will be back next month. She'll surprise us with another interesting travel topic.
Great.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks again to my producer, Britton Roselle. And let's see, my podcast intern, Sophia Cruz, and Julia Baksh, another one of our podcast interns. And I just want to give a special shout out to Johnson's Popcorns, who are in Ocean City, New Jersey, for sending the Maria Liberati Show team some delicious popcorn. There's nothing that says summer to me more like Johnson's Popcorn and going down to the shore in Ocean City, New Jersey. So thanks. And they were selected as one of the best products for our summer guide of 2024. You'll be finding out some more products that we selected, some really interesting, some delicious products that we selected. They're going to be on the blog for the Maria Liberati Show at themarialiberatishow.com. And I should give a special shout out also to Fiesta Ware, my favorite plates, for serving my dishes on. They sent us some beautiful summer themed dishes that are great for picnics But anyway, so watch our blog at themarialiberattishow.com, and also don't forget to sign up at Maria Liberati for your chance to win a copy of a book. One of the books, I congratulated Josephine Trabuzio of Brooklyn, New York, for winning a copy of my book, The Basic Art of Cocktails. And if you go on Instagram, you'll find out about our next contest to win a book also. And as always, you can find me, as I said, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, where we always have contests to win books, and also on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Vimeo at Maria Liberati, on Twitter at Maria Liberati, my blog, Maria Liberati, the blog for the podcast, the MariaLiberattiShow.com, our YouTube channel where our podcasts are there in audio, and some are actually in video, and there's even more video of some of my cooking segments I also did in Italy, but also in the United States. So please check those out. And if you'd like a copy of the Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diary Seasons, which is where I read my bruschetta tips from, you can get that, as well as all the other books in the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series. You can get those at marialiberatti.com, at artoflivingprimamedia.com, which is the publisher's website, and anywhere books are sold, including Amazon and Kindle. And until next week, peace, love, and pasta.